Hey everyone, we are back with another SYFY Friday review on Saturday, and tonight we are reviewing Defiance Season 3, Episode 11, Killjoys Season 1, Episode 10, and Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 11. If you are not totally caught up on the SYFY Friday shows, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later, because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Okay, all three shows this week were absolutely amazing. They were really, really good. Starting with Defiance, this, I think, was by far the best episode of the season.
It was really good.
Yeah. Titled The Awakening. It starts off and it's super... Well, first of all, the Olmecs are awakening, and hence the name, the title of the episode. And they're starting to land. Basically, Keensy's bringing them down two at a time, it seems like. And it reminded me of Jurassic Park with the goat chained up with the T-Rex.
Yeah, kind of, because, the doctor's been under control and has been harvesting for them, and so, she has them all, and...
She has one of the Iraths chained up out in the woods, and the Olmecs, they just walk up and they eat her.
Yeah, it was very, very Jurassic Park.
It was very gruesome for Defiance. I mean, Defiance in general isn't that gory and gruesome of a show.
But this was pretty gory. I mean, there was a head with entrails all over the place. So
and it was, oh god, it was such a good episode.
And we learned stuff about the Olmecs. Like, last week's episode, Keensy eats her father's heart. Mm-hmm. And we learned that, like, for the Olmecs, if they consume somebody, like, if they consume the commander, they become the commander.
Yeah.
And that includes all of this strength. And that's why they're so strong, is, like, when they consume that person, they consume all the people they've consumed.
Yeah.
And so they gain all of that strength. So Kinsey gained all of the strength of her father into herself, so she is now basically invincible.
So when she did that ritual last week, when she ate Tefkin's heart, it seemed like it was basically just a spiritual thing.
Yeah, we thought it was just symbolic, spiritual, and no, it's actually metaphysical. Like,
literally, she took on his strength. Yeah. She is basically, I mean, Nolan shoots her in the face, and
she pulls the bullet out of her head and tosses it on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, she is just, like...
She's straight up badass.
Yeah.
And so Nolan, I mean, he shoots her in the face once, and then he shoots her like 3 more times, and she's just walking toward him, and he looks over to Rissa and goes, "Get to the car." and they're like, "We gotta go.
We are out of here."
And so they get back to Defiance, and the first thing he does is pour himself a drink, which cracked me up. I'm like, yeah, I think I would want a shot too after that. After realizing how screwed you are, you're like, I need a drink. One of the most interesting scenes in this episode to me was when Keensy went into the little warehouse thing where Doc Yule was keeping all the harvested peoples.
Because they're Voltan and human.
Right. So she positions herself directly in front of Daytak to kind of hide him from Keensy's sight. Which, I mean, eventually Keensy calls her over and she has to move, and she sees Daytak and they have a little conversation. But just that little moment where Doc Yule stood in front of him.
She actually quantifies that later because when she's sent in to grab a human, Daytak is saying, "Take me," and she's like, "I can't see that. I can't do that. You don't deserve, none of you deserve this, but I can't watch that, and I can't say no to them, but I can say no to you." Yeah. But he does eventually convince her, and, which was awesome, because you knew he had a plan.
So he has this, like, single Wolverine claw out of his...
mecha arm.
Yeah, his bionic arm, or it's like half Indigene, half Castathan, or whatever it is. It's just this super arm, and his one single claw, and he drives it right through one of the Olmecs' heads. And it doesn't kill him.
No, it doesn't, which is surprising. I was like, holy shit. Like, the Olmecs themselves are not non-badasses. It's just, Kinsy's more badass now. Like, she's basically invincible. They are not. But, I mean, right through the brain, you would think that would kill anything, and it doesn't.
And he escapes in that moment, and that's the last we see of him in the entire episode. He doesn't show back up. And I really expected to see him again at the very end, when Stama and Alak and the baby were trapped with Keensy in the house, because Keensy's got the baby and she's like, snack time, and I really expected, it to be like Daytac standing in the doorway, then credits.
Yeah.
But no, it's Keensy staring at the baby with just drool, and then credits, and it's like, oh man, could you get a bigger cliffhanger than that?
But Keensy, she wanted Nolan to be like her human.
Yeah.
And they are allowed to have pets.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if she's going after the baby because she's going to eat the baby to punish Stama, or is she going to raise it as a pet, so that's all the baby knows. Like, we don't really know what her plan is.
Yeah.
I could see her, like, basically telling Stama, I'm going to raise your grandchild to be mine. I will own him. He is my slave. And then killing Stama, or, I don't think she actually will get to that, but then going to kill Stama and her son.
I could see Keensy also saying, I'm going to eat your baby, and then taking the baby and raising it and not actually eating it.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Just to mess with Stama's mind.
Keensy lies very, very easily.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't...
Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Keensy makes it through the season finale next week and she still has the baby, and then they do a time jump for next season, if there is a next season, and the baby's like a year or two older.
Yeah, I could see that.
In Keensy's care. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, I did say, if there is a next season, the ratings have not been great for Defiance.
Yes.
So it could be on the chopping block. We might not get a season 4. I really hope we do, because it's such a good show.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know why people aren't watching it. It's amazing.
Okay, so because of all the things that are happening, people are disappearing, people are getting eaten, all this stuff going on in Defiance, Amanda's confidence is utterly shattered. And she's super down on herself. She's like, if I hadn't trusted Tefkin, if I hadn't tried to, to make an alliance or whatever, none of this would have happened. And Nolan tries to cheer her up, but my whole thing is, I'm like, she's right. This whole thing is her fault, and Stama actually called her out on it before.
But Nolan's also right. Had she not made this deal with the Olmecs, the entire town would have been slaughtered by Ramtak. Yeah, they would have been taken over and everybody would be dead. So
the whole situation was basically a Kobayashi Maru. It was a no-win scenario.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting scene. I'm like, she's right. Her confidence, she's down on herself, rightfully so. But Nolan also has...
Yeah, but she also didn't have a choice at that time. Yeah. So she made the right choice at that time, even though it led to this. This reminds me of when... Daytac was talking with Keensy when he was still captured and said to her, you think you're going to capture the Earth with 10,000 Olmecs?
Yeah.
And he made a good point.
I think he said what, 10 million humans in VC left? Because I remember going, okay, that's a low number because the population right now is like...
something billion, like 4 billion.
It's like 4 billion.
But still, he was kind of mocking her plans in front of her, lesser Olmecs, saying, like, how many can you lose before it becomes detrimental? 2,000? 3,000? Because, you're going to conquer this city, but you're not going to conquer the Earth. These humans are not going to give up fighting. That's why we're coexisting with them.
Yeah.
Like, we tried it that way and it didn't work. You'll see the same.
And one thing he said in particular really kind of stuck with me. He said, do you think you're going to conquer the people of Earth? Which is actually a really interesting phrase, because it's not just humans anymore. It's not just Earthlings.
Yeah.
It's humans living with the Arathis, with the Castathans,
with the Voltans,
with the Indigenes, and so it's the people of Earth, and it's basically a united front, or it will be a united front that Keensy faces when her invasion hits full force, which I do expect to see. I don't think it'll get quashed. I expect it to at least escalate a little bit.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't think the Olmecs get destroyed. I think if there's more seasons, I think they're around for it, because I think eventually the Olmecs are going to turn on Keensy and realize that her father had the better plan. Even though they don't know what his plan was, they are going to be like, no, we need to coexist.
Yeah, I think Daytac's little monologue there is going to be pretty prophetic, and it'll get to a point, if there is a next season, probably next season, where it's negative returns for the Olmecs, and they will turn on Keensy and decide they have to kind of assimilate into the cultures of the people of Earth. Okay, moving on to Killjoys Season 1, Episode 10, titled Escape Velocity, and this was the season finale for Killjoys.
Oh, and it was so good.
It was amazing. It was by far the best episode of the season.
Yeah, good. It makes me so excited for next season.
Yeah, because, absolutely.
They just have so much they can do with the show.
The front half of the season was kind of hit and miss, you know, but they had a good show, good episode, bad episode, good episode, iffy episode. The back half, great all the way through.
Like the last 5 episodes were pretty amazing.
So, if you remember, Albus was captured. Is it Albus or Alvis? It sounds different depending on who's saying it in the show. I've been calling him Albus because Dumbledore. But so Albus got captured, and he's actually being framed for that shooting in the bazaar.
And we find out later that was actually other people killed 3 of the Scarbacks, took on their clothes, and then went and did the shooting, and the Scarbacks had nothing to do with it. They were not Scarbacks who were doing that.
Yeah, it wasn't like an offshoot group or anything like that. It was
which all the people of Old Town, they all knew that couldn't have been Scarbacks. Yeah. That's not what they do. Everybody loves the Scarbacks.
Yeah.
So they knew it was the company.
Yeah.
But the company was using it. This episode was very political. The company was using it as a reason, or the 9 actually were using it as a reason to back out of the 7th generation deal.
Yeah. And
I'm thinking things are getting a little too crowded.
Yeah.
And they can't take any more 7th gens, and they didn't expect families to behave for 7 generations.
Now, we did expect for the stakes to get raised as the season progressed and the series progressed, but wow, the stakes got raised really high.
Yeah.
So, like, it went from basically almost like a police procedural type show to a political intrigue type show in the course of like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And now the stakes are really high. Old Town gets bombed to shit at the end of the episode.
It's like a crater now.
Like, it's basically the company, the GA, they committed genocide on Westerly. At least they obliterated Old Town. And what they did commit genocide because they annihilated an entire group of bloodlines from the 9.
Yeah, so I guess the 9's an 8 now.
Yeah, or at least an 8. It might be a 7. I wasn't sure how many bloodlines they killed off.
Yeah, they didn't really explain, but I think it was just 1. And even that was orchestrated so that it looked like Old Town was responsible, the Scarbacks were responsible, so that they could have a reason for bombing it.
Yeah.
It was so political and convoluted and just
wow. It's like I say, the style of the show and the theme of the show changed over the last couple episodes, and they actually executed it really, really well.
It flowed really smoothly. Yeah. It makes sense that it's going this way.
Yeah, like a shift that big could have easily felt very jarring to the viewer.
And very this isn't even the same show. But
totally seamless. It was absolutely outstandingly, is that a word? It's outstandingly executed. I loved it. If you haven't watched Killjoys, the full season's done. Go on SYFY On Demand or whatever, go online, watch it. It is great.
Yes.
So what else happened in this episode?
We meet another 6.
Yes, so we
level 6, not 6.
Six is from Dark Matter.
Yeah, we meet another level 6. So Klein is not the only one, and we were kind of wondering, is Klein level 6?
Yeah, because he
not.
He said I am level 6.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, does that mean he is level 6? Or do you mean a level 6? He is a level 6.
Yes.
So we meet another one. We find out that level 6, they are Killjoys who basically get disappeared. Or this is what like the urban legend is.
Yeah, they disappear. And then there's rumor of genetic modification, which kind of gets proven when Dutch meets the other 6 because she stabs him in the eye and he doesn't even flinch.
Yeah. He pulls it out and he's like, you got nothing.
So there is some sort of modification because he obviously doesn't feel pain or is able to shut off feeling pain.
Yeah. Now, the most interesting scene in this episode to me was when Johnny gave the blood blessing to the sick woman. It was the Rat King's sister, right?
Yeah.
And he knows the words and he does it, And he says, he kind of feels guilty because he kind of duped them.
Yeah,
he turns around and he's like, I'm not a true believer. You might want to, get her actually blessed. And the Rat King has an interesting line. He says, I don't think you get to choose. And I'm like, what does that mean for Johnny going forward? Because that could be really interesting if Johnny becomes one of the Scarback monks.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Yeah. And it works with his character.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so good where it's like, you don't get to choose if you're a believer. I don't think it works that way. It's kind of...
Or does that mean he's just going to become a believer, or is he going to become one of the monks? I could see it kind of going either way. Or is that just kind of a throwaway line? It didn't seem like it.
No, it didn't seem like a throwaway line. I think it means something, and we'll probably find out next season. There's also a really interesting scene with Klein and Davin. They have this fight, and Davin thinks that Klein's going to kill him because he's whooping his ass. Like,
he's mopping the floor with him. It's bad.
He's got no chance against Klein, and he doesn't. And he does mention he did that once, and Dutch didn't speak to him for 6 years, and he can't afford that right now. And he takes Davin, and he wakes up in like this facility, and we don't get any background information. But I'm almost wondering, do level 6s have a say in becoming a level 6, or are they kidnapped? And if they survive the process, they are then a level 6.
Because it almost seemed like Davin's being set up to become a level 6 or something.
It looks like they're doing some sort of experimentation where he's at. Yeah. And I could say, like, maybe...
And he's taken to a place called Arkham, actually. Arkyn. And my first thought was Arkham Asylum. It sounds kind of... Arkham, it sounds kind of the same. So I was like, okay. But it didn't seem... It seemed like it was a secret facility.
Yes.
And it's kind of mental hospital / prison.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm thinking Davin's going to be groomed to be a level 6.
Yeah, I think he is being modified. And if he survives the modification, he will then become a level 6. I definitely think that. I think that is in Klein's best interest.
And the episode basically concludes with Davin in the facility, but not before Dutch sends him a message that she hopes he will eventually find, saying that she will never stop looking for him. So the reuniting will come next season, obviously. Will Davin be a level 6? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Really looking forward to that, because it's going to be great. This is a great show. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's so good.
All right, and finally, Dark Matter, Season 1, Episode 11. And this is another great episode.
Man,
wow.
Yeah.
So, we were trying to figure out, and we spent half the week talking about it amongst ourselves.
How does 2 get back on the ship? So we had a couple of theories. One is that the Raza team somehow escapes and they go and find her, but that seems very unlikely. That's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
So
it's like finding a needle in space.
Yes. So our next thought was that the people who space her, team, gets her because the warrant or her bounty is dead or alive. Yeah. But we find out during the show it's not, so then we're like, well, how does she get back on the ship?
Yeah. So, and it actually does get explained. It's not just, well, she's back, which they totally could have done.
Yeah, they could have.
Fine.
Yeah.
Leave it up to mystery. That would have been fine.
They explain it.
But they do explain it. She got shot out, and she drifted toward the front of the ship, grabbed on, and pulled herself into one of the trenches, dislocated one of the transistory thingies, and then just waited by the airlock for someone to come out to fix it. And I'm like, that's genius, because it said she's out there waiting to die, and she just didn't.
She didn't. So she was like, well, now I got to formulate a plan.
So it was a great 2 episode.
Yeah.
And this was, has 2 had a really good episode like this before? I don't think so.
I know.
I don't think 2's been featured in an episode quite to this extent.
Yeah, not to this extent.
This is absolutely fantastic.
This was a very 2 and 5 episode.
Yeah,
the 2 of them had a good.
The ladies of the Raza, which actually gets they allude to kind of in one scene where the guys they're all stuck in the vault, and
they're suffering hypoxia because there's not very much air in that vault.
And one gives this very rousing speech, and he's like, "We'll show them what the men of the Raza are made of," and he's totally like halfway delirious.
Yeah, and then cut scene to 2 kicking some major ass and killing everybody. And that was amazing. And I love that 2 tells 5, get in the air ducts and hide. And she doesn't. She gets up there, she goes to where she stashed the gun earlier in the season, and she comes down to help 2.
Yeah.
And she does, because 2 gets cornered, although she would have been fine, but 2 doesn't know what she is yet. So she's not sure how much damage can I sustain before I die.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she wasn't sure. So she's just like, oh God, what am I going to do? Formulating a plan.
Still got to be careful.
And 5 comes up and shoots him.
Yeah.
Like, empties the gun into him.
What was great about it is 5 is very capable technologically, but in this episode she proved herself to be pretty capable physically.
Yes.
Not necessarily hand-to-hand combat, but being able to, help a crew member when they were in trouble. Which, I mean, she did last episode as well with the android. So she's proving herself. She's proving
herself. Every episode, she's proving herself worthy to be a member of the crew.
And 5, to me, is the, well, here we go. my weekly list of favorite characters on the show. I do it every week. This week it goes 5, 3. 3 has jumped way up the list. So 5, 3, android, 4, 2, 1. I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, you can let me know. 2 is still pretty far down on the list, even though she did have a great episode.
Yeah, I love 2. She's one of my favorite characters. And so let's stick with 2 here. We find out at the end of the episode that she is kind of like...
She's an engineered person.
Yeah, she's
artificial
an engineered
person.
Yeah, artificial person, yeah. She is biological, but her main components were engineered. Like, I'm thinking that means like her brain, her central nervous system was all engineered, and that she does have a heart and lungs and kidneys, and she has nanites in her like the android does.
Only they're better. They're higher tech.
Yeah, they're higher tech. And she is not technically possible. Technology hasn't technically reached that level. Nobody's said that. Yeah. And if anybody discovers what she is, she will be hunted down. Yeah. So that was really interesting. Yeah. And that's going to be really interesting later, because now she knows if somebody's pointing a gun at me, I can just maneuver. As long as they don't injure the brain, she's probably good. I mean, they can shoot her multiple times and she's probably fine. Now,
I have to imagine 2's story, as far as being hunted because of what she is probably going to come around next season. And I feel like I would be irresponsible as a geek if I didn't mention, because the android actually uses the word artificial person, it calls to mind Aliens, where Ripley is talking to Bishop and I think it's Lieutenant Gorman and Burke. I think it's they're the ones sitting at the table, and she finds out that Bishop is an android. And she goes, "You didn't tell me you had an android on board?" And Bishop goes, "I prefer the term artificial human myself." and so I don't know if that was an intentional callback to Aliens, but I picked up on it and I fanboyed out there for a second, which I do in every episode of Dark
I think it is, because they've got a young girl crawling around in the air vents.
Like
yeah, exactly. I think they do kind of. I think the creators are Alien fans and kind of call back to Aliens a little bit.
You can let us know if we're right about that. All right, what else do we have?
Yes.
Okay. We mentioned how badass 2 was in this episode, and I got kind of a Rambo feel from her in this one, because there's always a sequence in a Rambo movie where he's like hiding and he jumps out and kills somebody, and then it cuts to the next one, and I got that kind of a feel from 2 in this episode. Like, she's hiding and she pushes the barrels over onto him, and she was hiding and she kicked the blonde lady's ass.
So last week, I thought that 3 gave up the code because he knew that 2 was going to get spaced and he wanted to save 5, and he didn't. He didn't think. He thought if he'd give it up, they'd bring 2 back in. So it actually indicates maybe deeper feeling on his part,
which did get explored a little bit in this episode.
Which that works. I like him in 2 way more than I like 1 and 2, because I just really don't like 1.
I ship 2 and 6. But my alternate would be 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3 makes way more sense than 2 and 1.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's just because I don't personally care for 1. But I also, like, out of the whole crew, I figured 3 was the most like that other group.
Yeah.
And so he would immediately know. And the fact that he didn't know that they were going to space him kind of says a little bit about his personality.
Yeah.
Maybe it is more act and less actuality. Maybe he's not like that other crew.
Because I was the same way. I thought he, mentally he was like, well, this is what I would do.
Yeah, this was what I would do, so let me give the code because I don't want the kid going out.
He's like, that's not what he would do.
No, yeah. So that gives us a little insight into 3, and it makes him a little bit more human.
Yeah, which is why he moved way up my list this week.
If 3's starting to, like, at the first episode, I hated 3, but yeah, he's climbing up. I like him more and more every episode.
And so the crew of the Raza, they finally take back the ship and they deliver the device, and the device, it destroys a planet.
It destroys the whole fucking planet.
It kind of implodes.
Sort of, kind of.
Disintegrates.
I think it disintegrates. I think it creates some sort of magnetic weapon that fries the planet because the planet's still there. It's just a husk.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking maybe it creates like a black hole or something like, or maybe it makes the planet super dense and it creates a star or something. I was just totally blown away. It just destroyed the planet.
As it was happening, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh my god. But no, like, after everything happens, the planet is still there. It's still the same size. It's just blackened. And they had mentioned the magnetic field, so I'm like, maybe it like created some sort of magnetic weapon that destroyed the planet.
And so what happens to the device? Is the device destroyed, or is it just floating there
now?
Not
only that, was that the device? Because the guys were talking about what to do with the device, and we never, as an audience, hear what their plan was.
Yeah.
So did they do that? Although they did seem shocked when they came out. They're like, what's going on? Why are y'all panicking? Like, what's happening?
Or did they just pick something else from their vault?
Yeah, did they just give them something else? Did they actually give them the device?
I think it was the actual
I think it was the actual device too, but they don't actually tell us.
Yeah.
So...
I think it was the device they stole, not just some piece of equipment from the vault. But imagine like if it was just a hunk of a thing they had in the vault, and they're like, give them this, it doesn't do anything. And then it destroyed, and they're like, holy shit, what are we carrying?
Yeah, oh my god, what do we have in here?
But no, I totally think...
I think it's the device too. I think it's in their best interest as a crew.
Get rid of it.
Well, not only to get rid of it, but to stay on that corporation's good side.
Yeah.
Because... they're already on the bad side of the other one. They need to stay on this one's good side. They need the money for the job. And even though it might not, it might be dangerous and they shouldn't, they need to look out for themselves. And they don't have enough memory to be able to do that without some help.
Yeah.
So I think it was the device.
And then the final question I have is, is there going to be a consequence for the destruction of this planet now, since they gave the device over and the planet blew up?
Yeah, does the corporation pin that on them?
Yeah.
It's like, we didn't do anything?
Yeah.
It was these guys. They blew up the planet.
We gave you the thing you wanted and you guys blew it up yourselves, dumbasses. Or is the corporation going to blame them because,
somebody's got to take the fall.
Easy patsies kind of thing.
It's easy for them to take the fall. They make sense.
So that'll be really interesting to see. We got the season finale of Dark Matter coming next week. Really excited for that. Season finale of Defiance coming next week. That's going to be awesome. And of course, Killjoys season finale was Friday night. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much everything for this this review. If we missed anything from any of the 3 shows, Defiance, Killjoys, or Dark Matter, let us know in the comments, and we'll be happy to talk about it if we left anything out.
Yeah, reviewing 3 at once, sometimes you forget little details.
Yeah,
so,
sometimes.
Let us know if we forgot something. We'll discuss it with you.
Okay, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more content.
And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.